Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. What's the number one lesson that you've learned about life?
The number one lesson about life for me is the number one lesson today is that we're all a work in progress. Like,
Yeah.
as long as we are trying to be the best version of ourselves that we can, we're always going to be better than yesterday's version. And there's always a better version to look forward to tomorrow, So I really feel like if you just are able to live in this dual space of I love myself and I'm perfect right now, and there is so much more to grow into and to become. It's a great duality to live with because you're enjoying the moment and you're also still stretching into the future.
Yeah. What would you say to the people who are not necessarily doing one thing better every single day, but kind of taking a few steps back?
I would say it's normal. Like, give yourself some grace. We all, life is not this progression of constantly moving up. I've fallen back so many times, and I think it's like you go up and then you fall down and then you go up a little bit more, but then you fall a little bit less because you've learned some things, and it, it's really not linear. Like, life is messy and uncomfortable, and you take a few steps forward, then you slip down, and then you learn something that you didn't expect to learn, and now you're better equipped to take a few more steps forward. And you know learning, I think, just this awareness of what are you learning along the way. For example, for the longest time I thought I was extremely smart. And with that came the belief that I don't need help, I don't need anybody because I'm smart, I can do this, I can figure this out, I'm independent, I'm resourceful. And that belief was so harmful because we all need help, we all need support, we all need different perspectives and different experiences and different tools that help us grow. And it made me feel weak if I needed somebody. And I held on to this belief for so long. And I don't know when it clicked one day where I really felt I was just failing abysmally. And I'm like, maybe I'm not that smart. But it wasn't that. It's that nobody does things alone. The tree doesn't grow in a vacuum. It needs soil and it needs sun and it needs water and it needs
Yes.
all those other things. And so just this humility that I learned and reaching out and asking for help, because I love helping people, but I was like, I don't need help, I'm fine. Was so great. That's something I learned from falling back and, eating a nice big slice of humble pie a few times.
Yes. 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 You talked a few times about the women, in your past and, being somewhat of a role model for you. What about the women who don't have a very good role model?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. And I think there are always role models out there. Um, if it's not women in your family, it's women in your community. If it's not women, it's men who are supportive. If it's not men that it's maybe public figures. If it's not public figures, it's something as simple as a future version of yourself.
Yeah.
In the mind body skills groups that I run, we do an exercise that's a guided visualization where you look for, in your imagination, you visualize and you look for a guiding existence. It could be a future version of yourself. It could be somebody in your ancestry. It could be somebody you know today. It could be an animal. It could be a symbol that is powerful to you, but it could be anything. And the power of that is that you are creating for yourself something that is uplifting and inspiring and motivating. So for me, always what comes to mind is a future version of myself, a better version, a version that is calmer and that's more patient and that has more balance in her life. And I aspire to be like that future version of me that I see in my mind.
Yeah.
You know, for other people, it has been things like a tiger, because there are elements of a tiger that they admire, the strength, the beauty, the poise. And it can be something that changes each time. We are so resourceful. So reality is only a small part of the sources that we can draw on for strength and inspiration.
Definitely. Have you ever done that visualization with your kids?
That is a great question. I haven't. And now I want to do that.
What is your view on that? Because that's something that I'm asking this for, to be sort of greedy. What is your view on how much or when to kind of start educating your children on self-development? The issue that I have a 17-year-old son. My fiance has a 16-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter. And not trying to be rude, but there's like a shallowness there, with some children, not all children. So what's your view on that as far as kind of dipping them into that slowly and them actually being able to grasp?
I think ASAP. I also do the mind body skills groups for teens and youth.
Okay.
And what we do for the different age groups is we adjust the content to be accessible for those age groups.
Okay.
I do some of those. I run some of the exercises with my own kids
Mm-hmm.
at different levels, right? Like I would say, as soon as they are receptive enough for it to stick, you can start.
Right.
My 11-year-old is very self-aware. She is very open and receptive to these exercises. So I do a lot of guided visualization of other things, not the best version, but I do when she's feeling upset or angry and she doesn't know what she's feeling, we go in and we explore through visualization those emotions. I do autogenics, which is basically creating a message to your amygdala that you are not stressed, that you are relaxed, that there is no anxiety. And that's just a series of repeated messages you tell your body until your body believes it and relaxes. So they go to sleep that way. She's very receptive. My son, on the other hand, who's only 1 year difference, he's 10, is very against it. Mom, you and your meditation mumbo jumbo. But then there are times where he's like, I can't sleep. And I offer, would you like us to try a little visualization? And he says, okay. And it works. And so I just reinforce and say, hey,
Beautiful.
remember yesterday how that was so helpful for you to sleep? Maybe we can try it again sometime. And just planting small seeds.
Beautiful.
You
Yeah.
know?
I love that you have two and you're able to give that example, because I think that there is a difference in not only them being able to mentally absorb it, but just, the patience for it,
Yeah.
to be able to sit and listen and kind of open up that part of their mind to, figuring out whether it's something that they could appreciate or not. Um,
Absolutely. I have a 7-year-old also. And I really think even if we don't know these skills or we're not equipped to give them to our kids or we're not coaches, I think there are very small and simple places we can start with just helping them recognize what they're feeling.
yeah.
Because again, as a leadership coach, one of the biggest challenges I have working with leaders and executives is that they don't know what they're feeling.
Yeah.
And self-awareness is not there. The ability to name and label an emotion is not there. I work with so many men who feel anger or depression, and that's it. They like the range of emotions they're able to recognize and name are tiny.
Yeah.
And we need to we work on expanding that so that they can, if you can't recognize what you're feeling, you cannot change your behavior. Your emotions drive your behavior.
Yeah,
And that your behavior drives your success, right?
definitely. Yeah,
So
definitely.
so just starting with kids and saying, what are you feeling now? My daughter says, I don't know. I say, well, what it looks to me like you're very frustrated. And she goes, yes, I'm frustrated. So I'm helping her find the words, right? I'm like, and I sense a little bit of anger. Are you angry? No, I'm not angry. I'm frustrated and I'm mad. And I'm like, okay, great. What's the difference between angry and mad? And she tells me in her mind what's the difference. And so we have these conversations that help to, help her create this library of understanding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you ever use in your with your clients or your family a feelings chart?
I do. I do. There's that. Do you know the one that's the circle that has the six basic emotions inside, and then it's got a second circle that has more nuanced emotions, and then the third one?
Ooh, I love that.
I will send you the link. It's so, so powerful.
Yes. So you can acknowledge one of the 6. Those are like the main ones, I assume, like happy, sad, angry. Okay.
Exactly. And then it breaks those down. So once you say I'm angry, it gives you like five more options of nuanced anger emotions.
Wow.
And then once you pick one, let's say, enraged, it breaks that one down further and you're able to really pinpoint the emotion.
Beautiful. Speaking of anger, I've always been taught that anger is a hidden fear. Is that one of the emotions that shows up under angry? Is fear?
I think so. Sometimes I think anger has a bad rap because
Thank you. I said the same thing. It's an emotion.
an
It's there
emotion.
for a
And
reason.
sometimes it's not fear. Sometimes somebody's overstepping their boundaries and they're, violating your space. It could be your emotional space. Somebody offends you or insults you. It's okay to be angry.
Yeah.
But how you react to that anger and how you behave as a result is where the emotional intelligence comes in, right?
Yeah, 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 definitely. Oh, I love that. Yeah, send that link to me. That'd be great.
I
Yeah,
will.
I would appreciate that for sure.